Over to Arizona now. Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb there, he's speaking out about a recent deputy-involved shooting that happened last week in his jurisdiction. The sheriff took to social media addressing the shooting, but then, of course, addressing the fact that this BS is happening because of the left's attack on law enforcement.
County Sheriff Mark Lamb here. I wanted to bring you up to speed with a deputy-involved shooting that we had last night in Dudleyville. Our deputy responded to a trespassing call. Turned out the subject had a warrant. At one point, that subject pulled a gun and shot our deputy. Our deputy returned fire, striking the suspect. I'm happy to report that I just left the hospital and our deputy is doing well. He just got out of surgery. He's awake, he's alert, good spirits, spending time with his family. The suspect's in stable condition. I want to thank our partners, DPS, Colonel Heston Silbert, the Pima County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Nanos for all of their help and his deputies, the Tucson Police Department, Mammoth, Eloy. Great partnerships, and couldn't have done this without them. And thank you to our deputies who responded, who were calm, and who ultimately probably saved our deputy's life. Thank you to them as well. I also want to say that this behavior is unacceptable. We can no longer tolerate this aggressive and violent behavior towards our law enforcement across this country. It is unacceptable, and we can no longer undermine the rule of law. I will tell you, we will not tolerate that here in Pinal County. I will not tolerate this behavior, this BS towards our deputies, and we will hold you accountable to the fullest extent of the law here in Pinal County.
Here now, that brave sheriff from Pinal County, Arizona, Sheriff Mark Lamb. Sheriff, nice to see you again. How you been?
Good, Dan, and thank you for bringing this to light, too. I appreciate you talking about this.
Look, I don't understand why every mainstream media outlet in this nation isn't discussing this. I mean, citizens are being harassed, they're being robbed, their homes are being broken into while they're home. This is happening everywhere. You've seen the numbers. I mean, I don't care if it's the schwankiest, wealthiest neighborhood in Beverly Hills, California, or a suburb in Northwest Ohio. Crime is increasing, violent crime is definitely increasing, and crimes against cops have, you saw, 63%. And when I saw that number, Sheriff, and I'm sure you did too, my jaw dropped. 101 in 90 days.
Oh, yeah, my jaw dropped too. But it's because of politicians like we just had on, that Steinberg fellow, who doesn't even understand the real problem. He thinks guns are the problem. I could set my gun down on a table. It wouldn't harm somebody for 100 years. And somebody with a problem picks it up. This was a turd that we had dealt with in the past that shot at my deputy. And, you know, these judges, these prosecutors are allowing these guys to just walk right back out. And these are the people that are being violent. If you want to address the problem in this country, let's start with the judges and the prosecutors. It's not the guns. Imagine how much crime we'd have if we didn't have guns to protect ourselves. Imagine how much tyranny we would have if we didn't have our guns to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, Sheriff, because I wasn't sure when I watched your video. I believe I heard you say there, the video was longer, folks, that this was a repeat offender. We're talking now about not what happened in Sacramento or Dallas, but what happened in his county with his officer-involved shooting. So you had, I believe, a criminal trespass call. Your deputies go out, and this is someone, like you said, you dealt with before, he'd been arrested. But again, the DA, the judges, let him go right back onto the street, and then you got to deal with him again.
Yeah, he had a warrant. As soon as he found out he had a warrant, he said, I'm not going back. And that's where things went sideways, you know, and put my deputy at risk. Thank goodness we have great doctors down at the hospital and in Tucson, Banner in Tucson. They put our deputy back together. He's home now with his family and recovering. But this is completely unacceptable. And as long as we tolerate it as Americans, and especially as long as the leadership, what is supposed to be protecting our communities and our law enforcement, if they keep turning their backs on us, we can only expect that this behavior, violent behavior towards our law enforcement, will increase.
Yep. And Mark, I know the answer to this, but I'd like you to reiterate it because we've seen it. It happened in Minneapolis. It happened in LA. It's happening in Portland. A bunch of those major cities where they screamed defund police and every cop's racist 2 years ago. What are they doing now? Because the people spoke up. Right? The constituents said our neighborhoods are getting flooded with crime, and these are black, brown, white, yellow, you don't care, they're all kinds of neighborhoods. They are seeing the increase, and they're tired of it, and they know it's directly coming from the defund police, the rhetoric towards cops, the weak-kneed prosecutors and judges. So what do people need to do? The residents need to take action and go after these politicians, right? Otherwise, this is going to keep happening.
Absolutely. We have the perfect year to fix this. We can send these politicians packing. Guys like Steinberg that went out there and rebuked the guns, that guy, you going to be affected by defunding the police? No, they're still going to show up to his neighborhood. You know who's affected? Those in the minorities or those people living in communities that are less fortunate. They will be affected the most, and their voices need to be heard. Let's send these people home, and let's put people in there going to put the rule of law first and America first, and they're going to serve their people.
You got it. Sheriff Mark Lamb, Arizona, we love you. Thanks for coming on the program once again. Be safe out there. Take care, sir. You and all your deputies.